Kurt, why do people complain so much about flat rate?
Because it's easier.
It's easier to complain than to hold yourself accountable. That's what I think. That's what we're dealing with here, guys.
I think that's not just in automotive. I think that's everywhere. It's honestly easier to talk about it than to do something about it.
100%. Like, shoot, I could complain that it's like, why isn't the TV mounted yet? But why? Like, I could complain, like, dang it, I don't have enough
You're the
time.
reason that TV isn't mounted.
Yeah. It's like I don't have time enough to mount the TV. I have the wrong stuff. Like, no, I am the only reason why that TV still isn't mounted up on that freaking.
It's funny you bring that up. My wife will ask me to do something around the house, and then I'll start doing it, and then she'll be like, well, you don't have to do it right now. I'm like, if I don't do it now, it's not going to get done. So we're going to do it right now.
100%.
Whatever time of day you ask me, I'm going to do it. And so it's just funny to hear you through the TV needs to go up, and you got to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey guys, if we just start holding ourselves more accountable, I feel like we're gonna make the changes necessary in our mind to come with a different approach and different mentality into work. I mean, as I've seen on Instagram from our guest, he said, man, if you wake up like thinking dog crap, you're gonna work like dog crap. But if you wake up thinking positive, like give praise to the Lord about waking up and go in with the mindset that you're gonna flag 20 hours, dude, you might come close to 20 hours, if not more. That's just how it is, man. You guys, you gotta wake up and do good. Like if me and Curtis went into these podcasts and we're like, oh my gosh, like bro, like I'm so tired. Like me and Curtis do this after work. Like we work regular jobs. Like this isn't our livelihood right now. We're trying to make a different income of it, but we come into this, already worked our shift, maybe had a bad day, maybe had a good day, but we come to it with the open mind, ready to welcome our guests and ready to give you guys a good podcast. And that's what we try and deliver. We don't come in here and it's like, oh, fudge, I got to yap with Curtis and make up nonsense about the industry. Like, why would I do that? So why would you go into work all demotivated?
Yeah, no. I mean, shit, I'm tired all the time. Tired's a part of life, man. There's plenty of times where I don't want to do something and do it because it's what, ultimately what's the goal at the end. And shoot, I just need to be looking in the mirror before looking out the window. And I think the guest we have next is a perfect example of flat rate might be hard. The industry might be hard. Your dispatcher might not like you. Your service manager may be a turd. But guess what? At the end of the day, it's up to you. You control your future. You control your path. And you make the decisions. So I'm extremely excited to have some accountability in this episode.
100%. Well, Manny Mechanics, we're looking forward to talking to you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back at it again with another episode on the WOTPod, starring the best co-host duo in the nation. You already know, Jay back at it again, Curtis right beside me. Today we have our wonderful guest, Manny Mechanics on Instagram. Most of you know him as the tech who loves flat rate, who is obsessed with flat rate. Well, he's here to tell us why he loves flat rate so much and how he has started up in the industry. Manny, how are you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing good, bro. Just right here at the shop, getting ready to go home, do this podcast with you guys. Doing good.
Heck yeah, that's good to hear. That's good to hear, man. So first things first, since it's so popular on Instagram, we've gotten a bunch of DMs about it. Why do you love flat rate so much? And why would you not go hourly instead?
I mean, I love the fact that I have the opportunity to like move time, like I can be at a job for 8 hours and have the opportunity to flag 20. To me, that's like the greatest thing ever. I can't see myself at a, hey, you're clock in for 8 hours and then you get paid for 8 hours. Like to me, it's, I would rather, have the opportunity to flag 20 in one day and make some money. Sorry, guys. Our internet sucks here, I guess.
Yeah. What's happening with Volvo, brother?
Yep, we got that made in China internet.
Man, it's because they paying y'all too much money, man.
Yeah, that's
Pay
probably
some
what
money
it
to the
is. They're
internet.
like, this guy needs to flag more hours so we can upgrade our internet. Yeah. Now, I don't know where I got cut off, but I guess what I was trying to say is that I love, coming to work and having the opportunity to make 20. That's what I like. I've been wrenching for 20 years, and to me, that's like the greatest thing ever. Being able to hit, 100 hours in a pay period, or 100 hours in a week. That's the goal, and that's to me, it's just there's no other way of working on cars, trying to make money. Obviously, a lot of guys also say like, oh, flat rate, you're fixing cars, and you're not, your quality isn't there. But that, I don't think that's necessarily true, because you'll get exposed if you do that. I've seen too many guys work on cars, and the car will come right back, whether it's a water leak car or like an oil leak car. If you don't address a customer's issue, I mean, especially working with a brand like Volvo, those customers are very educated. They're very knowledgeable, and now with the newer cars, like, some customers come here and they're telling us what's wrong with the car. Oh, I went on Reddit and it said this, and we're like, all right, sir, yeah, we'll check. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but yeah, that's to me, that's what this industry provides for us, for a couple of guys that want to make some money. And I mean, we all know what we're getting into when we went. I mean, I went to UTI and did the SAFE program for Volvo, and I already knew what I was getting into, bro. Like, so I can't complain and cry about flat rate, because I already knew, like, this is it. This is what I signed up for. So yeah, but it's hard. It's not easy for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say you said something there. You said you signed up for it. I think all those years ago, all these techs complaining and having concerns about the flat rate system, when they started becoming a tech, they knew the way they got paid. Now that social media is out, all they want to do is talk about how awful it is. And it's like, 10 years ago when you signed up, you didn't have to do it. You could have found something
Yeah.
else. And so it's kind of unfortunate now that everyone's got something to say about it. And it's like, it does have its downfalls, but it also has big time upside, as I'm sure you've experienced with the ability to
Yeah.
flag 20 a day. I know those paychecks are nice.
Yep. Yeah. And not only that, I think like today's like some of the techs right now that I've seen, and I'm not talking about the guys that I work with, but I'm talking about social media and like DMs that I get. I would say about 80% of the people complain about, but what I like, there's like one or two guys that'll DM me and they'll be like, bro, thanks for saying stuff like this. I thought I was the only one that thought it like you do. He's like, there's very few people that actually go to work every day and they're like, I'm a flag 20, and usually I tell them, I said, hey man, get up every morning, say, thank you for another day, and I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna try to hit 20 hours today. Like, you gotta have that positive energy. You gotta like create it, like, but if you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get 3 recalls and it's gonna pay 0.3, then that's what's gonna happen. Like, you gotta create energy, and you gotta bring in some positive energy into your day, and I love the post you did yesterday when you said it's time for us to look in the mirror. I've done a similar post like that, because there's a lot of guys out there, bro, that want to flag 20 hours a day, but then you walk through their toolbox and it's a mess, bro. Like, they're like, hey Manny, let me borrow your 10 millimeter. I'm like, I have like 10 of them, bro. Like, I have one in my pocket. It's ready. Like, how do you not know where your shit's at? Like, I don't know. To me, it's crazy, bro. But I think you hit it right on the head, bro, when you said like it's time for us to look in and see like what are some changes that you can do to like make sure that you're able to flag, your hours every day and control your own destiny, basically.
Jay, what was that post that you first saw me on? Remember that one? You talked about it sometimes.
Oh yeah. This was back when before me and Curtis had even spoken to each other. I seen him on Instagram, and it's like, you aren't flagging hours because you're on your phone, and then he shines like the flashlight at the camera. He's like, get off your phone. And I like, bro, you freaking you made this video because he was on your phone.
And it's
Yeah, it
funny
was
because
like,
guys have said that to me too. You know, they're like, "Oh, you would flag more hours if you weren't making videos on Instagram." And it's like, I mean, I don't really watch Instagram. Like I'll skip here and there, you know, but for the most part, I took a class on like social media and how to create content and stuff. So I took a class, you know, and so ever since I took that class, I started taking it more serious and doing more posting and stuff and try to grow a following. But for me, it was more of like, I'm just gonna put my phone there, record, and then I'll make a video, and then I'll just say some stuff, you know, and then usually the more controversy or the more like, I guess when you try to make people angry, like the more um views it gets, the more controversial or whatever.
Bro.
So, you know, it's happened where some of the guys were like, "Oh, you're talking about so and so in our shop, huh?" And I'm like, "Nah, dude, like I'm just making content, bro, trying to gain followers, you know, like don't take it personal. It's not, you know, the more controversial your posts are, the more I think people enjoy that, you know. So that's what I've been trying to do, follow my gain more followers and things like that, try to grow and try to shine some light in this industry, man. I mean, this is an awesome industry, like being part of cars and working at a dealership. It's like it's hard to let go, bro. Like for me, I've had opportunities to go work at shops and open up my own shop, but I dealing with new cars that come out and dealing with new problems, to me, I solving problems is like in me, you know. And I always fear like if I open up my own shop, like am I just going to be doing brakes and alignment? I'm not going to be dealing with like other people's comebacks and like doing you know, tech line reports and having like FTSs call you and say, "Hey, you know, so and so in the shop is working on his car, can you, do you mind going over there and see what he did?" And you know, so I mean, to me that kind of like it I don't know, it like it makes me, you know, I don't do this for money too. Like the paychecks are nice, but at the end of the day, money's money, bro. And like the way that I make money is like on real estate. You know, you have your passive income, you own a couple of properties, and like, you know, people pay you rent. That's the way to go, dude. That's the easy money. I don't, if I didn't have rental income coming in, I probably would have left this industry a long time, because having that, like where you have to produce and have flat rate, it's hard, you know. But especially with kids and like all the payments, so I understand that part, you know. But you got to have multiple strings of income, bro. You can't just depend on your two hands and your wrenches. You gotta diversify, you know. And a lot of guys that are mechanics, they always tell me, "Oh, dude, this guy's a loser. He has another job on the side. He's doing this and this on the side." And it's like, Warren Buffett has 7 strings of income. Why can't I, bro? Like, you know, we all gotta make money, you know, doing other stuff. So, you know, you
how
gotta
long?
do it. Capitalism.
How long have you been in the industry, and like how did you get? You went straight from UTI to the Volvo.
So yeah, so I went to UTI in 2003 here in California, and then after it was like 17 phases at the time, then I ended up going to Chicago and I lived there for about 6 to 7 months, and I did the SAFE program. I originally wanted to do BMW or Mercedes, but they wouldn't take me. I was like a reject kind of, because I would always show up late to class because I was working at a dealership. You know, when you go to the UTI, they're always like, "Oh, you got to get hands-on experience. You got to go work at a tire shop, blah blah blah." So I ended up going to work at a Honda dealership. So I would go into work at 7 in the morning, get out at 5 or 4, and then have to drive like 2 hours to the school, get out at midnight, wake up and do it all over again. So I was late sometimes because it's LA and traffic, you know. So I had a lot of tardies and UTI, the people there, they're like, "Well, if you want to do BMW or Porsche, you gotta like retake all these classes." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not retaking. I want to get out of here." And the Volvo rep at the time was like, "Hey, you know, Volvo, we need guys, you know, nobody wants to work on Volvo." And I saw like the rep and I'm like, "Fuck, I don't want to work on those bricks, you know, those old nasty cars, boxy looking." I'm like, "Oh, dude, do I want to go work for Volvo?" But then I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna go to Volvo, bro. Like, let's just do it, you know, like get it over with. I want to get out of UTI and just go work at a dealership." But yeah, I was working at Honda and I left Honda to go work at to go to Chicago and go to UTI SAFE program. And then I got certified and like, you know, worked for Volvo And then from there, I ended up getting a job at a Volvo dealership, and that's basically how I started. But wrenching, I've always been wrenching since I was 12. I started working, helping out my uncle that worked for GM. So my dad would, when I got out of school, he would drop me off at my uncle's house and he'd be in his backyard. Here in Los Angeles, he working on cars and in his backyard. I'd be 12 years old helping him like take an engine out of a Chevy or something. And to me, that was like the greatest thing ever. Like I hated school. I couldn't wait to get out of school to go to my uncle's house and help him take an engine out. An Oldsmobile. We were like in the backyard in the grass taking a transmission out. It was like the greatest time ever, bro. That's how I knew like I had the bug, like I fell in love with cars. And I can't see myself doing anything else. Anything else is kind of boring. Like I know I could do other stuff, but I don't know. To me, cars is where it's at. You got to have a passion to deal with this stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys know. If you don't have the passion for cars and for the way things work, then it's not gonna be good for you. I think a lot of guys, they lack passion. Like they think like, oh, I'm gonna come in to a dealership and in my first year, I want to make 150 grand and I'm gonna have the biggest snap-on toolbox. And it doesn't work that way. You got to put your time in. You gotta learn with your hands and take stuff apart and remember where everything goes. Yeah.
Can you shine us a bit of light on the SAFE program of Volvo?
Well, so the SAFE program, it was basically like a 6-month program where they teach you, it's all Volvo at the time. They would show you all the like the factory tools, the cars. Like when I went there, we had to take a car fully apart, and it was class and also lab time where you go in the shop and the teacher would create faults and you would try to fault trace using factory tools, showing you different procedures. So I did that for 6 months. But when you graduated from there, you're basically like what they would call maybe 2 steps under a master. You had all the certification, you're ready to go. But when you get out of the SAFE program, when you got out of there, even now, I think now it's dead. They got rid of it. But when you get out of SAFE, you basically have all the credentials for Volvo, but you like really don't know anything. Like you don't have the hands-on experience of cars. Like you're just like a ASC certified guy that's never replaced anything. And in total honesty, that's what it is. Um, but I'm pretty sure the other programs were the same. Mercedes, BMW. Like I kind of try to get into some of those, and they were all basically the same. It was like factory training for like about 6 months, and then after that, then they would find you a dealership. I had to sign a 2-year contract with a dealership to go work for them. Yeah. I know. I saw your face. You're like, what? Yeah. So I had to sign a
This man
2-year
signed an
contract.
NBA contract. He signed a 2 year.
Yeah, but it wasn't money, bro. It was just like, yeah, I got to work there for 2 years because the SAFE program at the time was 10 grand for those 6 months of training. So the dealership that would hire you, they were basically on the hook to pay for those 10 grand. And so you sign the contract that you would be at that dealership for 2 years so they can pay off the SAFE program, which was 10 grand. And they would pay it through parts department, which is kind of weird. Like, but now they went away from it because I think the quality of SAFE students that are coming out, it's not something the dealership likes. So I think now they have a program where if you work at a Volvo dealership for 3 months and then the service manager says, hey man, this guy, I think it's someone that we want to invest in, then they send you out to like, I think North or South Carolina for, I think a month and a half. And the dealership has to pay for it, but you basically come out and you're like what's called a G2, which is like some sort of certified right below like a master tech. But you wouldn't have the knowledge. You would have the knowledge and just a bunch of information on Volvo basically, but not the hands-on. That's something that you have to earn with time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dang, man.
I don't think I've really talked to someone who's been. Are you master certified at Volvo?
Yeah.
What is that? Like, what are the stages? Do you all use ASEs? Do you have to have like a tenure to be master certified? Like, what's that setup look like?
Well, it recently changed. When I first started, you had to have all your ASCs, like all 8, if you didn't have all eight ASCs, you would not be considered a master. So, and it was funny because back then, I would say about 15 years ago, you would have a lot of guys that had all their ASCs because they were book smart, but then they lacked like the hand ability to change parts and stuff and diagnose. So it was funny to see that because at the time when I came in, I think Volvo had just been sold to Ford. So Ford owned Volvo. So at the time it was kind of weird. Like now they just changed it again this year, where a lot of us that have been with Volvo for a long time, they changed it. It's like a G1, G2, G3. They gave us different ratings. And I think it was because the people that are in charge of training came from like Jaguar Land Rover. They're like JLR guys. So those guys, they kind of changed the Volvo training. They kind of took over it, and I think they're like mimicking Jaguar and Land Rover. So now you have like a G1, G2, and then G3 would end up being a master. And then they also have like an expert level where you would have to like fill out an application and then put three references. Your field technical guy that comes out and helps you, he has to approve you. So there's different. It's gone through a lot of changes because right now I think Volvo's owned by China, which is called Geely. So it's kind of weird, like the way they're a lot of guys have left because of it. They're like, oh, China's gonna drive us to the ground, and but I've been doing it for so long that I'm just like, I'm just gonna write it out. I'm like the guy in the Titanic playing the trombone or whatever. I'm like, until the ship sinks, let's go.
Yeah.
We're riding
He's
out,
still
bro.
playing out here. He's still playing out here. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, you with the violin, bro. Yeah, Bobo for life.
That's funny, bro. Yeah, I was just searching it up. I'm like, dang, who? Yeah, in 2010, Geely, the Chinese automotive group, acquired them.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, what in the world? I didn't even know. I thought they was still European. Like I thought they was still European owned.
Oh no. I think since I've been with the brand, I started out uh where Ford purchased it. So then I had like 8 years with Ford and Volvo. They were together. But then Ford ended up like taking all the good stuff, basically. Like they kept some property that Volvo had here in the US. They stole all of Volvo technology and then they ended up selling it to China, to Geely. Yeah. Yeah.
Does have you noticed like a dip in the like the quality of the product, or maybe it's gotten better? Is it that kind of stuff, or no big difference?
Um, you know, to me it's gotten a lot better, I think.
Man, well,
And
Ford
to be
sucks.
honest, the China car is actually pretty good. There's like an S60 made in China, an S90. That's a really reliable car. We don't really see big problems. Um, the electric cars are pretty good. The only one that we've had a problem that was kind of a disaster is the EX90. That just came out and they have a lot of software issues. But as far as like safety, I would say if you are going to have one of your kids drive, like for me, I have three kids and all of them are going to be driving a Volvo. I mean, I've seen what happens in accidents, and those cars are safe, man. They could take a hit. We've had actually customers come in and say like, wow, I was in a car accident and I got rear-ended. I was the third car that got hit. I didn't even absorb the impact. Or no, I was the first car that got hit and I was fine. I took the whole blow, and then the other cars were the second or third in front of me, and they were taking an ambulance or they went to the doctor, and I walked away. I want to buy the same car that I just had because the safety is really there. Like I could attest to that. Like my wife drives one, and when my kid's 14, when she starts driving, I'm probably gonna put her like in the '05 wagon or '05 XC90. Like those things are built for a tank. I mean, she's gonna hate it, but those things are a
I'll keep it
tank.
safe.
Yeah, it'll keep her safe. Exactly. You could roll over this car. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen a bunch of videos, Volvo videos of cars. There's a little niche market, where there's a couple of us Volvo guys out there, like Volvo nerds.
Yeah, I bet there's some
Uh,
enthusiasts. There's always some enthusiasts in weird little
yeah,
niche markets, like 100%.
yeah. Um, yeah, we're not as weird as the Saab guys, though.
Yeah, the You mentioned your strong love for flat rate. I was kind of curious. How do the techs around you kind of what's like? Do they absorb your positivity on it? Are they like skeptical? Like, what's the vibe in the shop around you and how you feel about it?
I mean, I'm pretty sure like they hate it, but I'm used to it, bro. Like, when I first started, I was like all flagging everybody, since like '05, '06, when I came to I've been working here for 20 years, and when I first started here, I was like, you know, I was always my hours were always good. I never had a problem making hours, and I would just kind of put my head down and just work, and you could tell that a lot of guys come in, and not just here in the shop, but just in all shops in general. They come in, they want to drink their coffee, maybe they're relaxing their first hour, and from for me, it was just like, okay, let me get this first car, let's do an inspection, put it in, and give it to the advisor, and go grab another car, and just kind of keep the flow going, and building like a system, where you could say, okay, I'm gonna get a car, I'm gonna inspect it, and I'm not gonna try to hit the customer. I think this is where a lot of people fail at in flat rate. You get a car, and it's customer pay, and you hit them with the $10,000 upsell, and this has, and I'm not talking about now, but when I first started, like in '05, '06, I would see guys, and they would hit a customer with like a $10,000 upsell, and it's like, dude, who has $10,000 to put in their car? Like who in their right mind would do that? And I always been conscious of money. So to me, it was like, why am I going to try to sell $10,000 and hit that home run? I'm just going to go for base hits. So I would get a car and be like, oh, you need front brakes and maybe a coolant flush. It's dirty. So I would say, oh, you need a coolant flush, and let's do your brakes. And by the way, I saw that your control arm bushings are cracked. So we'll keep an eye on your control arms, and we'll replace them. Maybe we'll check them next service, and then we'll go from there. And so then you could see, like, a customer would see that, and they're like, oh wow, yeah, I'll keep in mind. And like 9 times out of 10, a customer would see it would already be planted in their head, and they would come back by themselves. They're like, hey, the tech mentioned that my control arms are cracked. Can you have them look at them? And then that's how you kind of build a little reputation. You don't hit people with like this big upsell. You hit them with like two or three things, and you tell them, hey, your car's doing great. You know, these are a few things you need, and that's it. There's like a little formula that I've developed throughout the years where a lot of guys are afraid of having the car come back. They're like, oh, it could be catch 22, because if I didn't recommend the tire that was at 4/32 and the tire blows and it kills a bus full of kids, then it's going to be on me. And it's like, it doesn't really work that way. Like, you got to do your inspection and you recommend it, but you try to limit on the customers like finances. Like that's what's really helped me. And I think a lot of guys fail at that. But as far as the question goes of like how the shop dynamics, I think that when you work in a shop, everyone's always going to hate the guy that flags the most hours. That's like, I was just at training, and some guy
Given.
was like, well, the shop foreman's flagging all the hours, and he should be a non-working shop foreman and let us flag. And it's like, that might be right, but as a shop owner and as a dealership, you got to realize that management sees a guy that flags 20 hours and he's motivated, right? And he's here to like crank out the hours. If you take that guy out, and the guy that's crying wants to fill that role, I mean, is he really gonna push like that other guy? So you're not willing to take a lot of managers and a lot of shop owners are like, I don't know, like, should we trust it? It's hard. It's hard to trust. Like, a lot of guys speak a big game, but when push comes to shove, like, are they really gonna stay an hour late? Are they really gonna show up early? Maybe
Yeah,
take a
going to
20-minute lunch to knock out, I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me.
not
That never happens. That never happens. There's no way that people complain about the highest flagger in the shop. No way that happens.
It's really funny. It's really funny because I'm going through something similar in my shop, bro. My service manager called me in, and he's like, "Hey man, a couple of the guys in the shop been talking," but then he also tells me that these same guys that ain't that's talking, he's not really worried about what they're saying to a certain point because they know at the end of the day they're not go-getters. They're ones that complain and then just sit away and watch the cars go past them. Then they complain while they got 2 or 3 hours in a day. It's like at that point, bro, you weren't gonna the same cars that I worked on, you weren't gonna grab them regardless. Someone else was gonna grab them, not you.
Yep.
I don't know why you're complaining to begin with because you can't match my work ethic. You can't watch the mental the amount of mental commitment I put into the industry and my job. You can't match it in any way either. Like I just want it more than you. Simple.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
can't
like,
teach hunger, you know. Yeah, you can't teach somebody to want to like you give them 4 cars and you're like, hey, here you go, here's 3 waiters and a service and a check engine light. I mean, they drop that on them and they'll start panicking, dude. I've seen it, you know, like I've seen it today. Some guys are gonna watch this, are gonna be like, fuck that guy. But I've seen it today, you know, where you give a guy 4 tickets and then he comes back and he's like, yeah, I don't have the certification to work on this here, or I already have too much work here. You know, they take it back to the advisor, you know, because they're like, yeah, I'm not, you know, it's hard, bro. This is not an easy business, you know, and there's a very few of us that are built for it that love doing this. And, you know, we love getting 4 or 5 cars at a time and figuring out a way of, okay, how am I going to get this done? You know, like it's just like a big puzzle to me, you know? Yeah, but I hear you, man. Uh, All shops have them.
I miss those 20-30 hour days. It's
Yeah.
I mean, even my time at Audi, the last year I had spent at Audi, it was slow enough to where those 30 hour days weren't really there. But at Toyota, it's definitely been safe to say it's been a challenge. There'll be a lot of cars to work on, but they don't have like a ton of value. So it'll be a lot of juggling. And then you're like, yeah, I did good today. And you're like 12. And you're like, oh, it was not
Yeah.
as good as I thought. But
Yeah.
it's been
You
a
got to take the
learning
good
curve
with the
for
bad,
sure.
brother.
Yeah.
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 12 not
What
bad though.
what
12 not bad though.
12?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll take
That
12.
ain't. Eh,
How many cars did you work on to get 12 though? That's a real question.
I don't know. It was just more of like a. It was more of like a reference. Like I feel like if I worked on 5 cars at Audi, I could do 20-25 hours. If I work at 5 cars at Toyota, I'm at 12. It's just the value for what the repair is a little bit different. And
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
but what you're talking about hours? What without getting yourself in trouble, what kind of like what's your best week? You know, what's your average week? Is it about 100 plus?
It's not fair though. He a used
Um,
car tech.
yeah, so I mean, because of that, you know, and having a smog license, I mean, nobody else has a smog license in the shop. I think we have like 4 or 5 dealerships within our area and within the auto group, and there's only 2 of us that have a smog license, so we get all the smog. So, I mean, you're looking at 150 hours easy every pay period from the 1st to the 15th. Yeah, 150 hours. Yeah, easy. I mean, like that mean you're not even like moving, bro. It's just like it's like a walk in the park. You know, you're gonna get your 150 because you know, you're a used car guy and you know, you have smogs and when you've been working for Volvo so long, you just know the brand and you know things that other guys don't have that instinct, you know, like it's like a guy that a lot of the newer guys that are working on cars now, they come out of UTI or whatever school they went to. They're like that guy that comes out of I always like to reference this West Point. You know, they come out of West Point, they got all their medals, they were like, you know, first in the class and this and that. And, you know, there's guys like me that have been in Iraq for 20 years. Like we've seen it all, you know. So I know it's kind of like a stupid reference, but you know, that's what I like to, you know, I had a shop foreman that would always use like military references. And that's one that he said. He's like, hey, you know, you just got out of UTI. That doesn't mean that you know everything. Um, you just got out of safe. There's guys here that have been working for Volvo for 20 years. You got to respect them. Don't disrespect them. And, you know, he had experience dealing with younger guys, you know, and And I took that to heart. I was like, you know what? He's right, man. I like these guys have paved the way for us. So when I came out of school, I would always try to go in like with the oldest guy and try to figure out, okay, who's flagging the most hours. And I would just go hang out with him, buy him lunch, talk to him. I'd probably bore the shit out of him. But if you go to that person, and I talk to some of them still till this day, you know, and you go to them, you buy them a lunch, and you hang out with them, and you just like hang out with them, pick their brain. They'll tell you all the little tricks, secrets. If you break something, they'll help you. So a lunch and buying them a Red Bull every once in a while, coffee, it goes a long way, you know. And I posted about that on Instagram, and guys are like, "Oh, you're trying to bribe people. Like, I'm not flagging any hours. How am I going to do that?" You know, and it's like it's networking. You know, you're not bribing. You're networking. You know, why do you go to a country club? To hang out with other people. Why do you golf? To go hang out with people that maybe own a bank and you need to get a loan. You know, so.
Yeah,
But a
100%.
lot of guys, a lot of younger guys, they're missing that. You know, I think they're the like the digital generation. They don't have analog. You know, they're stuck. They don't even look at you in the eye when they talk to you. They're afraid to talk. You know, so I mean, I think that's what it comes down to.
100%. Man, I'm curious about the smog testing. So like, so how much are you getting paid for that? And like, is it like I know
Oh,
it's like
that's where the money's at, bro. Smog license. A lot. I did a post about that. All these guys were like, "What school do you go to?" And I sent them the information. It was like three guys that hit me up. They live here in SoCal, and they're like, "Hey, what's up with the smog license? Where can I go get it?" And I'm like, "Bro, here's the school." And I send them the school, and I'm like, "Go get it. You know, you gotta like have some ASC requirements. You go to this class, you have to sit there for 6 months. I mean, it took me a while to get it,
oh
but
shoot, six
yeah."
months.
I mean, this was back in the day. I've had it for like about 8 years, 9 years, and it was different now. And I think here in California, there was a shortage of smog techs. So they like lowered the requirements. So a lot of people went in and started getting their smog license. So, but yeah, I mean, I think ASC is kind of dying, and that's not really like a standard anymore. I think so. A lot of dealerships, they're not really looking for ASCs anymore. Even like Edison, California Edison, they're hiring, and I believe somebody told me that before you needed to have ASCs to get in, at least four, and now they're saying, hey, apply, and if you don't have your ASCs, that's fine. We'll hire you, and then once you're here, we'll pay for you to like a study guide and test into it because there's no people that want to work on cars even at Edison, like for their fleet and mechanics for Edison, like there's a shortage, you know,
So there's a shortage of technicians.
everywhere, bro. Like it's a good time to be a tech. We're like you know, we're like the new rock stars
It's so
of the
funny how like
80s.
different areas of like right now currently all I mean the US is really all I know. I'm not outside of the US, but like
Yeah,
different parts of the US, man, like people are saying there's tech shortage, people are saying what tech shortage? What are we talking about? Like if you look in my like in North Carolina, I'm in North Carolina, like we're like we don't know what you're talking about because like we're fine over here, but now you're telling me in like SoCal, it's like you guys are getting
oh yeah,
cooked. So it's like
yeah,
it's
bro,
funny. It's funny like how it differs.
yeah.
Especially in Texas, like Curtis, like right, you don't feel no tech shortage, right?
Well, the last two dealerships I've worked at, this Toyota and Audi before, we've got too many techs and not enough cars. And it's like, I'm about to go kick some people out because I need some more work type of stuff. So I think you can be a half decent dealership and not have a tech shortage. I think it's those unhalf decent dealerships that are the ones struggling, the super corporate ones who, they're going to fight tooth and nail over a couple bucks. They pay their techs $30 an hour. Oh, you're master certified. Here's $30 an hour. It's just like that's why y'all have shortages. Y'all don't know how to treat someone at least half decent.
Wow. We're spoiled here, bro, because here in California, there's a law where if a tech supplies his own tools, you got to pay him double minimum wage. So we have a lot of guys off the jump. They're making $36 an hour. And I'm like, man, when I first started, bro, I'm already old, bro. When I first started, I was making 16 bucks, dude. I had to work my way up, you know, and I was flagging 150 hours and only making like $18 an hour. And I had to like fight and argue to like move up, you know, and these guys off the jump, bro, they're making $36 an hour and
Bro,
they're
it's
still complaining. I want to 5 hours, and it's like, bro, you have it too good, you know, and you don't even know it, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Tis
all
this-
you always complain. You always complain, and you don't know how really good you have it until like maybe someone tells you about your situation back in the day.
Yeah.
But they kind of don't realize it because they're never gonna live through it. So it's really never gonna click in their heads. We're always
Yeah.
gonna complain and take for granted the good situation we're in until we leave that good situation.
Yep.
That's how
Yeah.
life is.
Tis the season of the complainer, if you will. It's
Yeah, bro. That's
Yeah.
the
a lot of
automotive
guys.
industry right there.
It's,
Everywhere,
do
brother.
you?
Everywhere.
I mean, you see me here complaining too. I was complaining earlier too about people hating on me. So I mean, I'm complaining too. We all complaining.
No,
Nah, it's
it's
all
more of
good,
like
man.
it's more of the like I put okay, so I posted something on LinkedIn about like someone was like, "Oh, the flat rate system is awful. It has to do with that." And I'm like, "Sure, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I'm not going to give up and throw in the towel because there's a system that slightly works against me. I'm going to do my hardest to flag as many hours as I can to uphold my quality, keep my ethics, and continue pushing forward." And they were like, "But you shouldn't have to do that." And it's like, I signed up for this. That is what being a technician is. I like this is what I want to do, and I'm going to be the best I can at it. And it's just like I can't explain that to someone. Luckily, the three of us, I think, all equally understand that. But it's like there's so many people out there that are just like, I want it all. Give it to me. I deserve this. And it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think it's just a generation, man, because here in Southern California, you guys probably know the housing market's really expensive, right? And there's a big group of people. The ages vary, but they all complain that they can't buy a house here in Southern California. They're like, "Oh no, I got to go move to Texas to buy a house. I got to move, back east somewhere where the housing market is cheaper." But I think it's a mindset, and people don't realize that in order to achieve anything like flag a lot of hours or buy a house, you have to put the time in, and you have to like first picture it in your mind and make it up in your mind. Like, I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to do everything it takes to do it. And you could do it. I mean, a guy like me did it working on cars. I was able to buy a house. I was able to buy a second house and rent it out. And you could do it. Like, and that's what motivates me a lot to post on social media. Cause my wife's like, what's the end game? Like, why are you posting stuff? Yeah. And I'm like, I just want to motivate the next generation, man. Like, I think the guys younger between the ages of 20 and 30, they're like, there's just a lot of complaining, bro. And like, and I always tell them, like, bro, if World War II was today and we had to storm Normandy, like we might as well like throw in the towel, bro. Like, you guys are just like, whatever it is you want to accomplish, you could do it. Like, you live in the best time in the world. Like, you have a computer in your pocket, you have Chat GPT. Like, you could tell Chat GPT, like, hey, find me some clunkers for sale so I can fix them and turn a profit. And you could do that. Like, I've done it all the time, like where I go to Facebook Marketplace and find a couple of Volvos that are messed up, and you buy them and you try to make $500-600 off each car. You turn them and sell them. I mean, there's a million ways to make money, bro. And crying and complaining isn't one of them. It's just nobody cares, bro. At the end of the day, like, all the guys that are complaining in your shop that are saying, "Oh, this guy's flagging more than me," like, the managers did listen to you, but in reality, they're like, well, I'm glad this guy's flagging a lot of hours, but if I take some from him, is this guy really gonna step up and do it? I don't know. Like, it's like a batter. You take out your guy that can hit, that can get home runs. I mean, here in LA, we have Otani. You're gonna take Otani out and put in a pinch hitter, a guy from like single A to hit a home run, and you're like, oh, I don't know, So a lot of guys just don't see the shop dynamic and the expenses that go into shops. I'm pretty sure you guys are conscious of that. I help out a lot of independent shops. I do a lot of freelance work where people call me and say, hey, I got a key to program, and I have this, I need help with this, or hey, I have this body shop car, it's got wiring issues, come help me. And so I'll go and help the owners of the shop, and I get to listen to other complaints, and their complaints are having to deal with fire department, all the permits, paying taxes, their parts bill. Like, yeah, we made 80 grand last month, but our parts bill was 50 grand, you know? So there's a lot of, I've had the privilege of dealing with a lot of shop owners. So I'm happy that I get to see that because I get to see the other side, you know, because a lot of the techs just see, well, I did 100 hours and I only made, you know, X amount. And it's like, well, if you want the money that the shop owner makes, just go ahead and leave, bro, and open up your own shop and be your own boss. Nobody's stopping you. But again, a lot of guys like to talk, but when push comes to shove, when rubber meets the road, you're not gonna step up. You're not gonna deal with all that stuff, you know. And it's sad, but it is
I
what it
seen an
is.
Instagram post that you said you don't want that smoke. You don't want that.
Yeah, I got a lot of heat for that one, bro.
smoke.
I got a lot of heat for that one, but yeah, I mean, it's the truth, bro. A lot of guys are like, oh, you know, this guy that owns this shop, you know, he's making all this money and this and that, and it's like he opened up his fourth shop here in Southern California. He's doing this, he's doing that, and it's like, well, why are you talking about him? Why don't you go open up your first one and then, you know, open up another one and open, you know, why don't you do what he's doing, you know? But
Mhm.
everybody wants to do all kinds of stuff, bro. But at the end of the day, everybody expects somebody to hand them everything, and it's not going to happen, dude. This is, you know, it's your life and you're responsible for it, you know.
Do you help train some of the new guys sometimes?
Yeah, so I've had the privilege, bro, of training like 3 or 4 guys, and I'm happy to say that all the guys, hopefully they're watching, all the guys that I've trained, I've tried to instill my mentality into them and to tell them like, hey man, you know, it's you, whatever you put in is what you're gonna get. So I helped train a couple of guys. I don't know if they're still with Volvo. I think one of them moved up to Seattle. He ended up, you know, working for like a higher car line. But I've trained like 4 or 5 guys, and all the guys that I trained, luckily, I think they did well. You know, I don't know if they stuck with the automotive industry, but um, I think a lot of dealerships are afraid to do that because if you what would be the pay structure, right? Because if they give you a, like for me, when they would give me a trainee, every hour that he flagged, I would get paid on it, right? So the first 3 months it would kind of suck. He would break stuff, so it wouldn't be good. But then after 3 months, let's say month 4, 5, and 6, that guy's flagging, maybe he's holding his weight, maybe 6 a day plus whatever I'm flagging. So now you're looking at 350 hours in 15 days, you know, 280 hours in 15 days. And then management gets kind of like, oh, you know, this guy, like, you know, he's flagging a lot of hours. So they try to pump the brakes on that. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you guys have been, if that's happened to you guys, but I've had it before where like HR, yeah, you know, and it's
Yeah,
almost
they
like we're the bad people, bro. Like I never understood that. Like HR is like calling up managers, like, why is this guy flagging so many hours? What is he doing? You know,
Kurt,
instead of like giving us a ribbon.
what?
That happened to you when you was a mentor?
Yeah, so it wasn't actually HR, it was other managers, like service directors and managers, and other techs and other shops. Okay, so I can talk about it now. The company I work for, they had a program where all the techs and the dealerships would compete. So they have 18 dealerships and all the techs would be competing, and you'd have rankings from 1 to about 700. And so the techs that I would beat, they would always cry and complain to their service managers or service directors. Oh, he's flagging all these hours. How can he do it? Blah, 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 blah. And they'd whine and cry. And so their service director would come complaining and crying to my service director. And then my service director was basically like, he's worked here for 7, 8, 9 years, and there's been nothing wrong. Like, why don't you guys just tell like your techs to stop complaining and work harder? And so that then elevated, since my service director didn't do anything, they took it to the next level. And finally there was like, oh, like we're not going to do this anymore because somebody bent the knee eventually, instead of having, because it's easier to tell one person to stop than it is to tell 10 people, hey, y'all need to be better. It's easier to say, hey, Chris, pump the brakes, slow down. You're doing too much. You're making everyone angry, jealous, envious.
Yep.
So that's kind of what happened when I was mentoring. And I guess my follow-up for asking you if you mentored is, when I was mentoring people, you could really tell, like, people like, oh, I want to make hours like Curtis, but then they would work with me for a few months and they'd be like, wow, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of, and you could tell pretty quickly who has it and who doesn't, because you're putting them through those things of like a high performing technician on a daily basis. There's a lot that goes into when you show up, how you show up. To the end of the day, are you staying late, or whatever the case is? As you know, is it's challenging. So as a mentor, I think it was challenging for the upcoming techs, and it was challenging because it would make a lot of other people envious or nosy or whatever the case is.
Oh yeah, bro. And I saw it at an early age as a tech, because they ended up making me like a team leader, dispatcher, whatever. And so I was dispatching to guys that were like 50, and I was only like 28 at the time, and like because I was cranking work out, and a lot of guys would complain and be like, hey, I've been working for Volvo for 20, and this guy only has 8 years of experience, and why is he and then at the time I wasn't even a master, bro. So they're like, this guy's not even a master Volvo tech, and he's dispatching. And then at the time I was kind of like a little bit cocky, I guess, and so I would just tell him like, look, that goes to show you that being a master is useless, because even till this day, I think that, I'm like, anybody can go and pass a test or do whatever and be a master, So I would tell the techs, I'd be like, hey man, no offense, but like, this is proof that you being a master means nothing. Like at the end of the day, they want numbers. Like, here's 2 cars, we need them done. Who can finish them? And that's what it comes down to. And so a lot of guys get upset, and I was dispatching, and then after a while I was just like, you know what, man, this dispatching thing's not going to work. And the manager's like, well, are you sure you don't want to dispatch? And he's like, well, now the guys that were on your team, they might dispatch to you, and then you may not like it. And I remember, I never forget, I told the manager, I said, look, bro, you can have the devil himself dispatch to me, and I'm going to make my hours, bro. Like, it doesn't matter who dispatches to me. Like, I'm not here to like play around. I'm just here to work. You could have anybody you want dispatch to me. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to flag my hours. I'm like, the only thing I ask for is if there's no work, let me go home. That's it. Like, that's the only rule that I've always asked managers. I'm like, hey, if you don't have a car for me to work on, I don't care if it's warranty, CP, internal, let me go home and let me do my thing. So, yeah, I found at a young age that, it's like dealing with, I guess, so-called haters or whatever, or like, it's just part of life, bro. And I think it's gotten worse, but it is what it is. But I do think they're going to get rid of flat rate eventually, because like you said, there's like 3 people that like it and 100 that don't. So they're always going to please the crybaby complainers. You see it even now at shops. It's easier to like like get rid of the guy that's complaining by taking care of him than to like deal with the other issues, like the squeaky wheel always gets the grease.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
who cares?
it's refreshing to hear someone with a similar mindset that I've had for so long. And honestly, sometimes I've had to suppress it on social media because it's hard to come out just guns blazing with be better, work harder, do more, stop complaining. Because while those things are the truth, I think I've learned is there's other ways to approach those conversations and being as direct. But
Yeah.
it's just nice to hear someone like yourself just say what I've been thinking for the last 15 years of my career is, I mean, it is hard. It is challenging, but it's possible. And if you put your mind to it, you and I
Yeah.
and Jay are proof. And I'm sure there's other people out there that are afraid to speak up because they're afraid to be attacked or bashed. Is like, it works great for them,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah, I troll people, bro. Like if you come into my IG and you say some stuff, like some guys have been like, when I first started, they were like, "Oh, you're making the owner rich at your dealership," and it's like, yeah, bro. Like he bought a new yacht and he got us Little Caesars. We got that hot and ready and a Coke, bro, because we hit our goal. Like, these people are like, who cares? Like some guys are like, "Oh, you're a slave to the system," and so then I'll send them like a picture of like a guy in shackles. I'm like, yeah, look, I'm the slave, bro. Like, who cares, bro? Like, I love when people like troll me like that. I'm like, I fire back, dude. Like, because I know there's one guy out there that's probably happy, like, oh, I could do it. Like, there's a you could make a great living, working on cars, and it's fun.
yeah. Do you? We're gonna kind of sort of get towards the end here. Do you have any questions for us, or things that you wanted to talk about and touch on that maybe we didn't talk about?
No, I mean, not really. I just I hope that people see this and they can take a positive out of it. And you got to work on your trade. If you really like this, get into this business. And if you don't like it, man, like don't even step in, and if you do decide that this is something you want to do, I'd say you got to give it at least 10 years, before you can really see, you know you really see what it's all about. It's going to take some time. And you got to worry about things that you can control, because a lot of guys, they get all upset when they see recalls and things that are coming out that really like kill our pay. And at the end of the day, it's like the manufacturer doesn't care, bro. Like, they're gonna come up with their times, and you just got to do you and make as much money as possible, get through the jobs, and then take some money that you've made from flat rate and put it in something else. Maybe you buy stock. Maybe you get like a little down payment, buy a property and rent it out and let it. You gotta find ways to take your flat rate money and put it somewhere where it'll keep multiplying. Listen to like podcasts, the bigger pocket podcast, and like learn how to house hack and build some put your money in properties, somewhere where your money's going to be working for you, because wrenching, it hurts your back. There's no doubt about that. We're all going to have arthritis when we're 50 and 60. So you gotta find a way to put some money away and have it grow for you. That's what I would tell people. And I think the blue collar jobs are going to be there, man. Not even just auto mechanics, but like plumbers, electricians. Like, we're going to be the new, like I said, the new rock stars, bro. Like, the guy that went to college and he comes out and he doesn't even know how to hang a frame. He's going to depend on guys like me and you, to do the hard work. Like, a lot of people think that like AI is great. A lot of people think that going to college and being a lawyer is great, and I'm pretty sure it is, but you get rid of plumbers, bro, and we'll all be in a third world country right away. Like, there's certain jobs that are just, they're $1 million jobs, like, and being a shop owner might be one of them, if that's the route that you guys want to go. Do you guys ever think about opening up your own shop?
I think I would want to, but I want to be a little bit more specific instead of just like general repair. I think I want to do
Yeah.
more of like I guess you could say like a boutique style. So it's more of like, rebuilding or working on a specific set of cars for customers, and not just like bring your car in. I mean, there might be some of that, general maintenance, but it's more like working on what I want to, or stuff like that, versus like Curtis's auto repair. It's not really what that specific isn't for me, but it would be nice to work on cars at my pace for myself and make the customers that come to me for business happy, and not necessarily doing it for somebody else.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good in my head and in my dreams and stuff, but like, I just feel like I just I'm a I wouldn't take that chance without being financially stable and another source of income. Like, let's say, like, if I was a YouTuber or something, or like I was getting a good enough money off of content influencer stuff, then I'd venture off and open my own shop, because I have something to sustain me in case it gets rainy, and in case like there's months where I struggle. But like, straight up, I ain't got nothing else. I ain't opening no shop. But you better believe I'm not about to be. I know them rough times be hitting, and man. Like, I've seen Car Care Nut on YouTube. He opened up his own shop, bro. He already had like 200K on YouTube. Like, he was doing good on YouTube, and he was a super excelling master Toyota technician for for a dealer. And then he went over and made his own shop. And then when he said, I remember he was making an episode, and he said like the first day, before he posted his new his address on YouTube and like did his first video, he got like, nope, he didn't get any business. Like, it was dead. He was worrying, bro. And then people just started flooding when they seen it on YouTube. Like, YouTube, Like the amount of people that have met him on YouTube and seen him, like that's like they've gone to his shop, and like I think that is how I could own my own shop. Besides that, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know if I'm gonna take that chance, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to build that brand.
That's how it would be for me too. I wouldn't take just a shot in the dark. It would have to be like there'd be some support, and social media is going to be the way of the future. I mean, you're going to be able to get out there, get recognized, and stuff like that. What about you? You want to open your own
Yeah, I mean, I
place?
thought about it, and what I would want is to buy a shop that's already established and somebody that wants to retire, like I mean, because I'm pretty sure, dude, this business eats at you, dude. It's a tough business. And if you have a guy that's been wrenching and he's like in his 60s, maybe about to hit 70, I mean, and his kids don't want it, I would love to be able to step in there and be like, hey, let's work out a deal, like maybe for the next 10 years, I pay you a certain amount and I'll run the shop and I'll make it mine, and we keep it going. I think that's probably the best way to go than to go rent out a spot and start fresh, and also here in Southern California, it's kind of tricky, bro, because there's a lot of scams that go on where you can go out and lease a place and open up your own shop. And then the landlord's like, oh, wow, this guy's busy and he's making money. Well, my uncle's a mechanic. I'm going to tell him, hey, I'm going to terminate his lease or whatever, get him out of there. And then I'm going to bring my uncle to run a shop and kind of like piggyback of what you started. There's a lot of that too. So that's probably the main thing that stops me is like, I would want to own the land where I open up my own shop so that I wouldn't get kicked out, like I could have I've heard a lot of horror stories of guys that open up their own shop and they've been there 3 or 4 years, they build it up, and then the landlord's like, all right, you got to go. And then next thing you know, their cousin's there and kind of took over the whole operation, kind of changed the name a little bit. And, I mean, it sucks, but it happens. And I think that's probably what stops me the most. I'm like, I wouldn't want to open up a shop without being able to own the land, because I would hate to, it would really like be a stab in the back if I were to open up a shop and then the landlord's like, hey bro, you gotta go, and then somebody goes in there and picks up where I left. That would really hurt.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would maybe one tip that you would tell to a young technician that's like or somebody who's aspiring to be a technician? Like, what's one thing you would tell a younger audience about being a tech?
I would tell them that this isn't something that you do for 8 hours, like this is something that you go home and read about. My kids kind of trip out sometimes because I'll go home and I'll have some books there and I'm reading stuff and they're like, or I'll show up with like wiring diagrams because I got a wiring problem. I'm like coloring, like, okay, green is the CAN network and this, and like I have my coloring books, and then they see it and they're like, Dad, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm chasing some wire. And so this isn't a job that you just do for 8 hours, dude. This is like a lifestyle. This is something that you're just gonna go deep in, and if you're not willing to do that, don't expect the money, and I think a young guy seeing somebody that's been doing it for 10 or 15 or 20 years, and if you want that, like you got to put in the time, bro. Like, if you want the hours that a guy that's been doing it for 20 years has, then, and you've only been doing this for 2 years, 3 years, like you're just going to make yourself miserable, like that's why I like the post you did yesterday where you're like, hey guys, look in the mirror, like, what are you doing wrong? What can I do better? I think that like, it's true, man. Like, keep your stall clean. There's a reason why there's shops that have that, a lot of guys here, like their area's a mess, bro. Like that you can't even, I mean, I walk through it and I'm just like, whoa, but, they want to flag a lot of hours, but you're not organized. You're not neat. Your floors are dirty, and you just gotta, there's more to it than just turning wrenches, So I would say, if you're a young guy, find the best tech, the one that's flagging the most hours, buy him lunch, hang out with them, pick his brain, make friends with the guys that know what they're doing. That's the best way, I think,
Yeah, that's awesome, man. A little accountability goes a long ways. I know,
Yeah.
but first and foremost, I just want to thank you, Manny, for spending a little bit of time with us, taking the time to tell us about your story, about your mindset, and really appreciate your time over the last hour speaking with us.
Hey, no problem, man. Thank you guys for having me. I'm starting to watch your show all the time and listening to other techs, dude. And it's pretty cool, man. Seeing all the other guys out there. There's, all the it's kind of the same thing everywhere, It's cool. It's cool to see. We keep America moving.
Yeah,
Uh,
amen, amen. Yeah, we do.
uh,
Shoot, yeah, we appreciate it, man. Freaking it. I mean, shoot. Imagine if nah, this is a bit too far. But imagine if we had a shot with people like with our mindset, like yeah, that shot would turn some hours, and hopefully it would be busy enough to keep all of us well fed. That's I think
yeah, I
that's the
mean,
issue we'd run into.
I don't think so, man. I think if you have guys that have the same mindset, and then, like I told you, if we develop a structure of like when you put in an upsell, you're not trying to kill the customer's wallet, and you're able to like be strategic, because right now, I mean, the industry's changing, and there's a lot of videos and stuff like that, and people don't want to see a bunch of videos. In my point of view, like videos are good, but you got to be strategic. It's like one of my shop foremen said one time. He's like, you can give a man a sniper, but you could give a man a sniper rifle, but it doesn't make him a sniper. And so a lot of guys here, man, they have the video and they're able to do videos, but you see the videos that they do and they're shooting themselves in the foot, bro. Like, you're showing stuff and you're like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And customers are smart, bro. They know, like, if anything, a Volvo customer, in my point of view, is probably one of the smartest customers we have. A lot of them are very smart, and they know they can read body language and your tone. So when you're talking, I mean, you give that to a tech, you're setting them up to fail instead of helping them, in my point of view. So the industry's changing. So if you were to take guys like me and you and put them in a shop, I mean, we would kill it, bro. Like, everyone would bring their car to us, because we're not gonna hit them with the $5,000 upsell. We're gonna nickel and dime you, and then little by little keep you on the road, keep you happy, get you in, get you out. Wash your engine, put some deodorant in your car, give you some. That's what I do, man. Vacuum your car. That goes a long way, bro. You vacuum someone's car, and you hand them some the little trees. I forget what they're called, but like
Oh
the
yeah,
car sanitizer or whatever.
yeah. The
You give
smell
them
good
that, dude,
trees.
and they'll love you forever, bro. That you got is all those little things.
Yeah, yeah. Freaking the other day, I was low on hours, and I was trying to. I was doing my video, and I was telling the customer, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and clean your windshield. Cause I see a lot of debris on there. Go ahead and knock that out of the way." And then I paused the video, and then I removed all of it, and then I hit resume, and then it was all clean. I was
Yeah,
just trying to get some work, bro.
yeah. No, you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah,
I got to, I
yeah.
got to. Well, Curtis, you got anything else?
Yeah, I think no, it's good. It's just refreshing. I think the biggest thing for me, it's been refreshing to hear your point of view, and I keep it up, man. Don't let I don't think you will, but don't let any of those negative Nancy's on the internet stop you, man, because you're doing a great thing and you're fighting the good fight. So thank you.
No, I will, man. If you see any negative Nancy's, send them my videos. Okay, let's motivate them. Let's motivate them or make them mad.
100%, 100%. Would you like to
Yeah.
plug in your socials, Manny? Just so everybody.
I mean, I'm just an IG, Manny Mechanics. I have a YouTube channel. I recently started doing a lot of like political stuff from my neighborhood, getting people involved in like local elections. In my neighborhood where I live, a lot of people complain, "Oh, the roads are messed up, this and that." But I'm like, you don't go to the council meeting, you don't know who's running, so like, why do you complain? So I started doing that on YouTube, interviewing some of the candidates that are running and asking them questions and stuff. So it's kind of cool. On YouTube is the same thing, Manny Mechanics. I'm helping a friend of mine launch and like keep his business going. So I do solar sales for him. So I do some videos on solar. The solar's big here in Southern California. So I work for his company and I do solar sales for him. I do a lot of videos online, and solar's big, man. You sell one solar job, that's like 2 months of flagging, bro. So, you know, you got to get on that solar.
Multiple streams of income.
Yeah, exactly. I only have like 3 or 4 right now, so I'm hoping to have 7 soon.
Good. I love it. I love the energy, man. Well, shoot,
Yeah.
it's been awesome having you on, man. It's been a pleasure to talking to you. If you gentlemen have nothing for me, I have nothing for you. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Manny himself. Get motivated and start flagging hours. See y'all next time, and it's been a nice one.